Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Asheville Vedic Astrology YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ryan's Vedic Astrology. I'm very happy to be able to present to you today videos related to the most important planetary combinations that you need to know, astrologically speaking. These videos were created by an Asheville Vedic Astrology apprenticeship student, one of her final projects, and what Anna has done is she's taken the Lajitaadi Avashtas and she has explained each combination of each avasta for each planet. So they might not all be posted already, but please check the playlists tab for all of the videos for each of the planets so that you can learn these planetary combinations. The Lajitaadi Avastas are an excellent way to understand how the chart is going to give its fruits. It's also an excellent way to understand how planets are being helped or hurt. Because sometimes you can have a difficult planet which is actually being helped by its friends, and so it's still able to produce that which it's meant to produce within the chart. In the same way that many people are confused when they have an exalted planet or a planet in a trine and good dignity, and it doesn't give the results that they expect that it would. Usually it's because of the combination of the Lajitaadi Avastas, and maybe there are enemies of the planet hurting the planet, or the planet is in a difficult state. So this is a wonderful series of videos, and please take your time to study it. And for supplementary information on these videos, you can see the chapters in the book, The Art and Science of Vedic Astrology, Volume 2. There you'll find written descriptions of these planets, and it can also give you more understanding about how to apply and see how the planets are functioning within your chart. So once again, I'm very happy to present this work of Anna, one of our really skilled astrological apprenticeship students. She's been at this for at least 4 years now, and this is one of her final projects. So thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy this series of videos.
And now we're going to move on to the Lajitaadi Avastas of Mars. Mars, the planet of action, the planet of war, the general, the planet of logic, of knowing what is right or wrong, knowing when to act. Okay, so the first Avasta we're going to look at is the Sun shaming Mars. So this happens when Mars is with the Sun in the 5th house, or when Mars is with the Sun and Rahu or Ketu in any other house. So remember, Mars is our will, and the Sun represents authority figures. Okay, so it could be a father, it could be the government, it could be a boss at work. So what happens when Sun is shaming Mars? Our sense of right or wrong, our will be diverted by authority figures. So they will make us feel really bad about how we want to act, and then there will be shame around it. An authority figure will tend to disrespect the way we want to act. They might also try to fix a problem, but take action illogically, and that causes problems, and then they will feel shame about it. But the main point is that authority figures will cause the shame. They will make one feel like they're not doing the right thing. You know, that they're not capable of acting properly and logically. Now, Saturn shaming Mars. This happens when Mars is with Saturn in the 5th house, or when Mars is with Saturn and Rahu or Ketu, and this can happen in any house. So Saturn causes oppression, so the person can't act and will feel anger, and they might even have an explosive temper. They feel like they can't succeed or use willpower and logic effectively. Yeah, so Saturn tends to restrict everything. So this person is going to feel a little bit oppressed. Saturn can also cause shame around thoughts about violence or even sex, especially with Ketu, which can represent aggressive thought from past lives. And Mars with Saturn can show frustration with one's sex life or desires, as Mars can represent sex and our desires as well. It can be our passion, what we're passionate about. Garvita or proud Mars. And that happens when Mars is in exaltation in Capricorn or in its Mula Trikona sign in Aries, 0 to 12 degrees. So Mars will be proud about the proper use of logic and will, especially Mars in Aries will be proud about the ability to start things and fix problems, since Aries is the sign of initiation. And Mars in Capricorn will have the ability to improve upon past success. It can get tasks done logically, patiently. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, so it's all about being very steady, enduring, doing things in a patient way, and in a very practical way as well. So Mars in Capricorn will also work on improvement that will benefit people for a long time. So it's enduring, so that and working hard so that things can work in the long run. It's not about fixing problems that will not last. And they're going to be good at problem solving, and they're going to have good engineering skills. Mars is the engineer. Okay, so good ability to fix problems and to use logic and proper action. Now, Saturn starving Mars. That happens when Mars is conjunct Saturn. And let's remember that whenever Saturn is with another planet, it's going to cause starvation. Okay, so in this case, the starvation is not coming from Saturn being an enemy, because Mars has one enemy, and that's Mercury. Okay, in this case, it comes because it's conjunct Mars. Saturn conjuncting a planet will always cause starvation. Okay, and Mars also represents strength of character. So this starvation will cause frustration in regards to using our will, related to whatever house that starvation is happening in. There will be difficulty with the use of our logic, and the person will have no confidence to make something happen, or they will overcompensate by thinking they are too good. For example, in the first house, there could be frustration around the body. In the second house, frustration around finances. In the sixth house, difficulty with health. In the 10th, a lot of frustration around career. In the 9th, it could be around marriage, about how we relate to culture. Okay, in the 11th, it could be about our gains. So such a starving Mars will also cause the person not to be able to survive emergency situations, because Mars is the planet that can act really quickly in emergency situations, but Saturn is going to stop that. And it might attract people who are critical or abusive. Saturn can be very critical. And authority figures can also be critical. That's gonna cause a lot of frustration as well. Now, Mercury starving Mars. Remember that Mercury is our research skills, our intellect, friends, our curiosity, and seeing different options. Now, this happens when Mars is in Gemini or Virgo, Mercury signs, when Mars is conjunct Mercury, or when Mars is aspected by Mercury. And if Mercury is acting as a malefic, that's going to be agitation, okay? So an aspect that comes from an enemy and a malefic planet is going to be agitation and not starvation. Okay, so what happens when Mercury is starving Mars? The thinking process gets in the way of taking action. Okay, so the person's gonna overanalyze, so they won't be able to act quickly. They will also be too focused on rules. Mercury represents rules instead of doing the right thing. They won't be able to act instinctively, and they will follow the rules too much. It can also cause injury or accidents because they're too caught up in thinking. And they don't know how to defend themselves. So when it comes to defending themselves, they might freeze, or they might not say what they need to say. This could also happen around friends. If a friend says something to them, they might not be able to act. So they might be quiet, not say what they think, and then feel a little bit frustrated about it. Mars can also be too rigid with contracts or things that have to be explained. And as Ernst Wilhelm says, this is what happens when Mercury is starving Mars. See a situation, complain about it, get killed. Okay, so you see a situation, think too much about it, get killed. Okay, because you're not taking action, you're just thinking about it too much. Or see a situation, look at the rule book, and get killed. Okay, so this is when accidents can happen because you're thinking too much and you're not acting when you should be acting. Now, thirsty Mars or Trishita Mars. That happens when Mars is starved in a water sign. So Mars with Mercury or Saturn in a water sign. Okay, so in Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. And this is similar to starvation, but to a lesser degree. Mars can still function, but it will still feel a little bit frustrated. Now let's go to the delight. Okay, so what happens when Mars is delighted by the Sun? Okay, and this happens when Mars is in Leo or Mars is aspected by the Sun. Remember that Mars is about commitment, and Mars is steadfast and stable. So Mars will not be as restless, and it has a sense of purpose and ambition, which the Sun is given to it. And the Sun will help Mars have a goal with pure ideals. Authority figures, represented by the Sun, will encourage Mars to do the right thing. Okay, so in this case, Mars will be committed and stable because the Sun is giving it that stability, that commitment, that steadfastness. Okay, the Moon delighting Mars. Mars delighted by the Moon. This happens when Mars is in Cancer And although Mars is debilitated in Cancer, it can be helped if the moon is in a friend sign, exalted, or mula trikona, an aspecting. This also happens when Mars is conjunct the moon or when Mars is aspected by the moon. Okay, so with this delight, one can manifest desires and ideas more easily, and Mars will be empowered and supported to get what it wants. The moon will also act like a supportive mother who gives Mars all they need to achieve their goals. So Mars is going to be supported by the moon that will help them act logically, and they're going to be receptive to success as well. Now, Jupiter delighting Mars. This happens when Mars is in Sagittarius or Pisces, when Mars is with Jupiter, and or with when Mars is aspected by Jupiter. But remember that Jupiter is a friend to Mars. Okay, so there will be a balanced use of willpower, of that aggression, that action that Mars represents. There will be wisdom of knowing when to act and a broad perspective on situations. So Jupiter will bring wisdom to that action that Mars wants to accomplish. There will be a higher purpose for one's actions. Okay, so Mars is not going to act just in order to fix problems, which it's very good at, but there will be a higher purpose for it. And Jupiter is going to validate what they do as well. So they will do what it takes to achieve goals, but always in a confident way, and I would say in a wise way. Now, the Sun agitating Mars, and this happens when the Sun is with Mars, when they're conjunct. So the aspect from the Sun is a delight, as they are friends, okay? But when they're conjunct, that's going to be agitation. So the Sun representing authority figures is going to place too many expectations on the person, and there are expectations that they're not going to resonate with. Okay, their inner ideals will not resonate with those expectations. So the person will try to please them, but internally they will not agree with them, and that will create a lot of frustration. This can also create a rebellious nature, as Mars doesn't agree with the king, with the Sun. And they could overcompensate as well by being a bit pushy or bossy, because they couldn't choose their path, so they're going to feel very frustrated. And they're also often punished for following their inspiration or following what they think is right. So the Sun is going to agitate that will that Mars has to follow their inspiration or to do what they think is right. And Mercury agitating Mars. This happens when Mercury acts as a malefic, so that's when it's with a malefic planet, and it's aspecting Mars. Remember that if Mercury and Mars are conjunct, it's starvation, okay? It's not agitation. Okay, so this is going to be similar to Mars starved by Mercury, but Mars will be more frustrated, it will be more volatile, more aggressive, and it will be ready for a fight. Okay, and this is the end of the Lajitaadi Avashtas of Mars, and I will see you in our next video where we're going to discuss the Lajitaadi Avashtas of Mercury. Thank you for listening.